I'm kind of jealous the way you have things set up, because you have like a nice backdrop, you've got a message in the back, and here I am with just a gray wall. I mean, did you put some thought into that, or am I just lucky?
I think it's just this is the best backdrop I've had, and I'm here because of the light. So it just worked out right now. I think as it gets darker, I can't have this backdrop today. But thank you. But I see you seem to have some cards from some young people on the back
Yeah,
there.
it's just this office I have. It's my kids, etc. I,
Nice,
that's my
nice.
youngest son back there, who's an artist at both, drawing things and drawing on the wall. So I mean, that's what
How
he
old? How
does.
old is he?
Well, I have one that is 5 as of Monday, and I have one that is, of course, 8. That was me stalling for time because I had drawn a blank there for a second. And they keep me on my toes, and the reason why I don't have any
Yeah.
hair anymore. So that's
Right, right.
but that's
I
neither here nor
relate.
there. We're here to talk about Palmer, and I love the film. I thought the film was great,
Thank
and
you.
I guess we're gonna start at the beginning here. I'm just gonna ask, what how did you get to this project? What brought you to telling this particular story?
I was looking to make a fiction film. I had just finished 2 documentaries. So was trying to find something to move off of docs for a minute into the fiction world, which I love, which I've obviously had a lot of experience in. And I read this script and I read it in 2016 and just felt like this was the movie I needed to make. I actually read it as a writing sample and as a sample to see what kind of films I wanted to make. And that my agent had sent it. And I said, this is the film I want to make. It took me a while to convince the production company that owned the rights to let me direct it. They had some other people in mind, and I don't know. The characters of Sam and Palmer were 2 people that I wanted to explore, that I wanted to kind of bring to life, that I wanted to bring to the world, so to speak. I just knew it at that moment when I had read it that this was it for me. My nephew Max at 7 was very similar to Sam, and he, at 7 was playing with dolls. I don't like to dress up in dresses and had a lot of friends who were pretty much all his friends were girls. I related to him. He had a very well-adjusted upbringing with my sister and her husband were wonderful to him and just let him be who he was. But I thought setting this boy in the rural South would be quite an interesting thing to do. And also I felt that Justin's character, Palmer, someone who is trying to get a second chance, be back, trying to incorporate himself back into society after being this kind of boy wonder, this amazing football quarterback, the star of his high school team, scholarship to LSU, and then going off the rails and trying to come back to society. These are things that I am curious in exploring, and issues that I wanted to explore, and characters I wanted to bring to life.
And the message is really timely, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, to be honest, when I read the script, Trump had just been elected, and I thought, oh, wow, I was blind. I'm one of these, I didn't I didn't ever think that was possible, but I was like, okay, he won. So I want to kind of explore what is separating us as a country. Joe Biden's speech today was very beautiful about unity, and I felt that this script actually does have a theme of unity, of coming together, of seeing people from unlikely worlds becoming a family. And I feel like, that's what this country's got to start doing. And I was feeling that 4 years ago. Little did I think January 6th would happen, and this country would be so ripped apart and be in the place it is now. Unfortunately, but I do feel like Palmer was coming out of that place of bringing the country and bringing people together for me. And for, I would say, the cast. Justin certainly was feeling similarly.
So I guess I'm going to ask, how was Justin on set? I mean, was he a dream to work with? Was he, was he always open to direction from you, sir? I mean, people want to know, so I got to ask the obvious question.
Justin was shockingly down to earth. And I say shockingly because if you think about his life and his fame and how young he was when he became famous, he was wonderful. We had a very deep collaboration. We worked together on this. I needed him to be all in all the time because we shot the film in 25 days. It wasn't like he was getting rich doing. He did not do this movie for the money. I can tell you that. None of us did. But he was all in, and he came early to Louisiana where we filmed. Justin and I worked on the script for a long time. We kept batting ideas back and forth with the writer. But once we had the green light to start shooting, I needed him to come early because we knew once we were on the set with that crew, we had to be on. So he came early. We worked every night. We actually worked after work some nights, working on the next day's work. We worked on weekends. He'd come to the set, and some days we'd shoot 3 scenes from 3 different days, and he would just change in the set bathroom or in his car. We didn't have a trailer situation. It wasn't that kind of Hollywood movie, and Justin was always there. I have to say, he was actually a dream to work with. And really helped me, took a lot of the burden off of me by being that team player and being my kind of partner in crime throughout this process of making the film.
I have to imagine that, being at the head of this film that you're directing, you're helping with the writing, you're in all aspects of this film without question. But there has to be one element of the film that you worried about the most. I have a theory on what I think it was. Ignore the fire alarm, my apologies. But what was your biggest worry that you had to get right when filming Palmer?
Well, I think you probably know, we're maybe thinking the same thing. It was Sam. It was getting the boy right. It was making sure that we had this, A, we had to have a great actor. B, I cast a 7-year-old, so I had very little time to film with him on the set on a daily basis. I was really worried about that. I mean, there were days I'd show up on the set and, the AED would go, okay, so you have Sam for 6 hours. So he's in every scene. What are you going to do? So it was challenging. The beauty was that we cast this beautiful kid, Ryder, who was so on, so prepared. Again, we rehearsed beforehand. He had a great coach, Lori Lively, to help us. We knew we had to be super prepared, but I was, no joke, nervous and very, very worried that element of the movie wouldn't be right. And Justin told me when he took the job, he's like, look, man, we can't start shooting till we know we have this boy. And it was until, when we found Ryder, it was like, oh, great. But then it was the work began. So it was a 2-pronged problem, right? Finding him, and then once he's in, making sure he's prepared and ready on a daily basis because we had to shoot so quickly.
What do you hope audiences take from the film? I know personally, I took the unity message. I took understanding from the film, understanding that we're not all the same, no matter what we have been told growing up. We're all built differently. And I thought it was a touching theme, a touching film in that respect, because with my 2 sons, I want to make sure that they grow up in an environment that if they decide they want to play with dolls, if they want to wear dresses or whoever they choose to love, I mean, I want that environment to be there for them. That's what I took, looking at the film as a parent, and as a critic. So the audience, what do you hope they take from the film?
I hope they take what you took away from it, for sure. I also hope that they take away, there's a great line that the principal has. JD Evermore plays this principal. He says, I believe in second chances. I hope people do give people second chances. Obviously it depends on what they did the first time, but Palmer was a young 20-year-old kid when he went off the rails. And I've seen a lot of my friends get successful young and go off the rails. And not a lot, but a few of my friends, because we're young and dumb. And I'm hoping that's another thing people take from the film is to, you know, look at everybody and stand in their shoes. And as Joe Biden said today in the inauguration, also another great line is we do have to stand in each other's shoes. And I think that that's something that I want people to take away. I also want this unity and, like you said, and just understanding that humanity is a very complex thing, and we're all dealing with our own demons and our own questions. So that's very much why I wanted to make the film. I wanted the film to be very authentic. I wanted it to be real. I work a lot in the documentary area, make a lot of docs. And I wanted this, the reason I also wanted to make this film was I felt like I could take all that I learned from making documentaries and give it to this movie and put it in like we're watching, we're observing real life. We're observing these people, which is a lot of what I did for months of prep, is just looking, just watching, going into people's homes, observing, and making sure that the dialogue was authentic, that the place, that the sets were authentic, you know, hiring the perfect DP, the perfect designers and costume and sets, you know, people that I trusted to bring this thing to life, to make it as real and authentic as possible.